Hello, everybody. This is Rob Fredette with the podcast Hodgepod, and welcome. And staying in the health genre, how we take care of ourselves. We're talking skincare today, and I have Chris Gibson. He's an influencer, skincare expert, best-selling author, and licensed aesthetician. And he has 535,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is astounding. That's a great number. And Chris Gibson, welcome to Hodgepod. I'm looking forward to learning about skincare. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's 535 subscribers. That's just climbing a mountain every time you become really popular, huh?
Yeah, it's been interesting, it's, to say the least. So not to a million yet. That's the next one, but yeah, it's a lot of folks, but it's good because I learn from them just like they learn from me. So that many people, I'm always getting things thrown my way that I hadn't really heard about before. So I'm going, okay, that's new.
Yeah. If you could just give an introduction to yourself, and then we'll talk about your career, but also things we can do to take care of our skin, any do-it-yourself items.
Sure. Obviously, I'm Chris Gibson. So I have been working in holistic skincare for this will be my 39th year. So I'll turn 62 in March. And so, yeah, I got into all of this because of skin issues as a teenager that wouldn't go away, acne, that type of thing, and took a holistic approach after years of doing the dermatology stuff that didn't work for me. And, it wasn't really a hobby. It was really I'm very passionate about it, but I had a job in the corporate world at the same time for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the early 2000s, 2001, I really started to focus on the skincare aspect of it because it was helping a whole lot of people. I had a book out called Acne Free in 3 Days, which was selling just crazy amounts of books. I was on TV for that. So it was quite a different world to end up in. But the bottom line is it's been able to help a lot of people look at approaches, especially folks when they have issues that they have a hard time dealing with or curing or getting better healing through that. So now I also formulate skincare products. I've my own skincare line. It's the third time that I've done that. And so it just became a thing. And now that it's been all these years, the focus has sort of shifted to, how do I reverse some of the damage from sun I got? Because sunscreen wasn't that big a deal back in the 80s and 90s. That's a lot of it. Some of the folks that follow me now have followed me since I was in my 40s when I was talking about acne and preventing scarring and those type of issues, autoimmune issues with skin. So it's really grown, but now it's the focus is overall health and wellness. People want to know what I eat. They want to know what I do to work out. They want to know why I don't look old, all that kind of stuff. Sound old. I got a cold now, so I probably sound as old as I ever sound. But yeah, so it's, like I said, I'm still learning because the technology aspect of it has really changed. You can do things in your home. You used to have to go to at least a med spa to do like red light therapies and skin peels and laser treatments and just about everything you can do. You can even now clean your own teeth like the dentist does in your home with a device. Crazy.
That's amazing. And the book that you mentioned, Acne Free in 3 Days, sold over 1 million copies. And you were on CBS, NBC, Fox News, and the ABC family. So Sirius XM. So you hit the blitz there on the media circuit.
I did. I did that for 4 years. Very
Wow.
long, for very, very long years.
It must have been fun though, right? At least.
It was interesting. It was fun. I met a lot of people.
Yeah.
I learned a lot that I had to unlearn when I started the YouTube channel because YouTube is not TV. Well, it is now. That's kind of gone back that way. But when I was started doing the videos on YouTube, you had to like drop all that kind of stuff. So it's like it was interesting. It was interesting to be able to reach that kind of level of people. Like being on Good Morning America was pretty huge. But when you're in it, you're not really thinking about that. You're like, where am I next? Where am I tomorrow? And you're on the plane going, I'm, so am I in the right town? What
But
is the station? I had I have a great publicist too. They kept me informed. It would remind me over and over again. So it was hard work, but I also knew that most people don't get that kind of opportunity ever. So I was very grateful
Absolutely.
to be able to do that in that way. So
So you had mentioned working out. Those are a lot of my questions I had. I'll get to those later on. But the father time eventually catches up with all of us at some point. But there are things we can do to slow, I guess, the process of aging with our skin. So, what are some like remedies that you have, or what can we do like on a daily basis before we get into all the other interesting items?
sure. Well, we know now that you can take collagen supplements in your diet and it's helpful. Collagen peptides, whether that be marine peptides or these are amino acids that your body uses to create things like bone and cartilage and
Hmm.
collagen. And collagen is a large percentage of what we are. So I always talk to people about diet, oddly enough, first, because the best results usually come from the inside out. Topical products will do stuff to the surface of the skin, but you're always creating new skin cells. So you want to do things that support that process and help you create healthier skin cells and help you have skin cells that live longer. And so that a lot of the reversal of aging, the signs of aging really can happen in the diet. So if a person is eating well, leaning towards leafy greens, getting the right minerals, getting vitamin D3 and K2, which is really important for how calcium is handled in your body, and getting those collagen peptides in the diet, you will begin to see improvements in your skin without ever touching a topical. Then the topicals, of course, come in and help
Hmm.
change some of that. But even when we think of topicals, even things like tretinoin or retinols that help kind of correct some of the DNA damage that gets accumulated from sun exposure over the years will effectively, that's still affecting new skin cells. So the real thought process for everybody is what can I put on my skin and look immediately different? Nothing. Makeup, cosmetics. You could do that, concealer. And I tell people that the dark circles is a big issue. I do a lot of videos on under eye bags, dark circles. They don't want to do Botox. They don't want to have surgery. So we talk a lot about things like caffeine serums that help pull some of that fluid back and make that look a lot better. But some of us are just uh, engineered to have less thickness under the lower eye. And so that hollow, your skull, that
Hmm.
dark is not your skin. It's the shadow of the blood vessels on the other side, creating that dark area. And for you, if that's your problem and nothing else is working, it's concealer. So a lot of people are relieved to know that because there's like you can't you can't change that with a topical. So I try to dispel a lot of misinformation and I try to save people from wasting a lot of money on things that aren't going to be as effective as other things might be for them. So, you know, the concealer one is funny because everybody goes, well, I know concealer works. Well, yeah, it's what it's for. I diet really exercise. There have been several studies out the last 3.5, 4 years. The health got study was the one where they took individuals who were fairly sedentary, 45 to 72 years old, changed their diet, gave them moderate exercise. This isn't like running marathons, but activity, you know, light cardio activity, play with a dog, walking, that kind of thing, tennis, whatever. They did these changes for these guys and they were able to roll back 3 years of
Hmm.
biological aging in 8 weeks.
Wow.
So that's how important that is. That's the keystone. And then the topicals come in and help you look at your skin that you currently have look better, and some of the skin you're creating in the future look better. But even Botox is the same thing. You get Botox, it stops the muscle from moving so that those wrinkles stop, those dynamic wrinkles stop happening and they fade away. Well, it still takes time. So you get Botox and you suddenly don't have wrinkles. That takes time. Usually you have to have 3 or 4 treatments, albeit a
Wow.
year of Botox before you really see that big of a difference. And then, of course, that has its own negative side effects. So, because anytime you're stopping a muscle from working, guess what? It gets weaker.
Hmm.
So we see people that started Botox in their 20s and 30s back, you know, in the 80s and 90s when that started to become prevalent. They have the really loose skin around their eye because this
Mhm.
muscle has been theoretically dead for the last 20 years. So it creates another set of problems. You've got to get filler to puff that skin back out and make it look right. It just, I don't have it. I haven't had any work done. I'm not against it. I haven't had I never did Botox. It's not my thing. So lots of sunscreen, lots of facial exercises. I do facial yoga. I work out. I eat right as much as I can. And I use natural ingredients most of the time, like the soaps and things. I use turmeric, kojic acid. That's a big thing now. It's trending, those yellow soaps to get rid of dark areas of skin on the body, both in the shop, everywhere, anywhere. So that stuff's been around for a long time, but now it's becoming popular. So if you can't handle some of the stronger over the counter ingredients with your skin, you can go with the natural ingredients like turmeric, kojic acid, glycolic acid, those, and get some really good results. And then, of course, there's always prescription level. So I do have clients and I do have people that watch me who I have advised to go to the dermatologist and get prescription level skincare, which means the ingredients are stronger than the FDA is going to allow you to get it on the shelf. You're going to pay more, but you'll get better results.
Mhm.
So it really is knowing your skin and what areas really. I mean, people would look funny if they had a 60-year-old everything else in a 20-year-old face, and we see that. They don't look like themselves. It doesn't look right. So what I go for is the healthiest version of me at every age. I don't look like I did at 40. I look different, but I look as healthy. We just did pictures for Peloton, actually, shirtless pictures. And I didn't think at 61 I'd be doing thirst traps for a fitness company. But yeah, so it just really is keeping up with it, being consistent, changing things that aren't working. It's not really rocket science. It never has been. Even when the acne stuff was out and I was talking about it, it's just little things people were doing, like in their diet, too much sugar, too many processed foods. We could go on and on. I've had videos on seed oils where I've gone to experts and we've had to sit down and talked about the different types of oils and how they behave in the body as far as inflammation. It's really deep. It's not complex. It's just very deep. There's a lot of levels and layers to everything, but it's very straightforward science.
That is fascinating. And you had mentioned earlier exercise. I'm a spin instructor, so I teach classes and I also work. I work out 6 days a week, so I keep
There
the
you go.
exercise, do cardio,
Yep.
and I think it helps you, like you said, your overall skin, right? Just not your face.
Yeah, it helps to do a lot. It's a keystone to a lot of things because it helps you sleep better. And sleep is insanely important for skincare. There's this period of time for most individuals, we care about the circadian rhythms and all of that, but there is a period of time at rest at night, typically between about 10 and 3 in the morning, where your body kicks into autophagy, getting rid of senescent cells, repair processes, both for your skin and your organs. That's why if you've ever had surgery or you have, you like me, you fell out of a tree, you
Huh.
got a big cut, you'll notice that the healing process is faster at night when you sleep. You'll usually notice an improvement the next day after a good night's rest. So that process is very important. And so when you have the cardio, and it doesn't have to be crazy, it's just activity. When you
Mhm.
have that activity, you feel better, your body's more oxygenated, you're getting more superficial circulation since you do that. If I go 2 or 3 weeks without doing that, I can tell.
Hmm.
And then, of course, when I get back on there, it's like, oh, I can really tell. I haven't been doing this for a couple of weeks. You want to optimize everything. Your body has really amazing healing powers of its own. Cells know what to do. So, but you have to give them the environment in which to do it. So, exercise, super important. That study was not surprising to me, other than the fact that it was that quick. The amount of biomarker reversal in those folks was pretty insane.
Hmm.
So,
You know, you mentioned you mentioned sleep. I have a lack of sleep. That's an effect on the skin. How about smoking?
well, yeah, that's a big no no.
Yeah.
And it, one of the reasons is you are having a toxic chemical around your skin from the smoke. So if you've ever been, my grandparents didn't smoke, but my grandmother did. And I remember when she passed away and we went into her place to remove things, there was a patina from the nicotine and the smoking over the years. You took a picture off the wall, there was a line where the picture had been.
Mm.
And so when that stuff's on your skin, you're painting your skin with a toxic material, not to mention all the other things that it's doing as far as lowering the oxygen in your blood, putting, chemicals into your lungs that your liver, your kidneys are trying to remove all the time, focused over there where they should be focusing on everything. So yeah, smoking, it does. People always say, well, that's where you get the lines from the mouth from smoking the cigarette. Now it's the actual chemical reaction on the skin all the time. It's actually aging those skin cells. So, because there are a lot of people that do facial yoga, there's a straw exercise and they don't get that from that. And it's the same physical mechanism, not creating that result. So it definitely is the cigarette smoke itself and the heat, all of that so close to the skin is going to cause damage over time.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting. I am a former smoker. I've been smoke free for 20 years, but I'm glad I gave it up. Excellent. Sun exposure, another one. I had the type of skin. I remember you mentioned in the 80s, I was at the beach one time and I didn't have any sunscreen. And I felt like a red lobster. I was red. It hurt like heck for a week.
yeah.
So I don't have that skin where I tan. I burn like real red. So I try to stay out of the sun as much as I can. But when I mow the yard, I think I need to wear sunscreen.
Right. Well, everybody needs some sunlight. We are surface dwellers. We don't live underground. The body takes sunlight, doesn't need a ton to make vitamin D3, which is very important that your vitamin D levels be maintained and optimized, whether that's through getting some early morning sun, late afternoon sun. But it is that midday sun, it's the accumulation of that UVB, UVA light damage into your skin cells, knocks off the DNA. And that's how we end up with skin cancers and the damage that you see on skin when it's been repetitively exposed. Now, again, skin's a very resilient thing. You can get prescription lotions and medications now that can reverse the look of that skin damage. Hydroquinone and tretinoin mixed along with kojic acid is a typical compounded prescription product that can actually reverse a lot of that type of damage. But then you got to remember to wear sunscreen. Just wearing sunscreen is like using a really expensive luxury item on your skin. Your skin will begin to repair itself if it's protected. So a lot of times people just start using sunscreen and they notice a big difference in their skin just from that. So yeah, sunscreen's very important. And what I more than sunscreen, sun protection. If you're really sensitive to sun and you burn very easily, get under an umbrella. Wear the clothing. There are clothes. I just took a vacation where I had the bucket hat on, which fortunately I didn't look weird because that's becoming a thing again. To keep
I
the
know you,
sun,
yes.
to keep the sun off my back of my neck. Guys get it back here. I have most sun damage I have is on the back of my neck because I had short hair my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I knew better about sunscreen, I was never thinking about the back of my neck. So, and I can remember that being burned. I can remember taking my shirt off, there being a line from the collar up. And then I talk in the videos about driving over the years, how the side of, even though I wear sunscreen, the side that was exposed continually to the sun on the driver's side, I have more apparent sun damage here than I do on the inside side. So truck drivers do that a lot. They'll show you their arms.
Yeah.
This one will be all aged and this one will look like they're 20. That's the difference. Dermatologists love this test. If you want to see how much sun damage you've accumulated, all you have to do is look at your butt. I mean, most of us have had our butts covered from the beginning. That skin that has not, most of us, that is skin that has not been exposed to
Uh-huh.
sunlight on any sort of regular basis. And people are shocked. That's what my skin would look like if I didn't have
Wow.
any sun damage. Yes. So that's the difference it makes. A very easy test. A little disheartening for most people when they do that. So they're like, oh, that's terrible. But you got to live your life. I don't
Yeah.
suggest people stay in the house and not ever go outside or get any sun at all because you got to live your life. And I think doing that to try to keep your skin looking like it was 20 your whole life is sort of ridiculous. That's not a way to live. But just managing, being aware of your environment and how you react in it. Some people have more melanin in their skin naturally and they don't burn as easily. So they can be a little longer out in the sun, but they also need sun protection because the sunburn is the outward reaction of too much sun in a short period of time. And what I'm talking about is accumulated sun exposure over many, many, many years. And you see that, in people that live I grew up in Texas, but then I spent 20 some odd years, 20 plus years in Pennsylvania where it's dark half the year. So that might have helped me out, I guess. I don't know. But now I'm in Florida where it's sunny again. So I'm very aware. I wear hats all the time to protect my face and I wear sunscreen. I have 15 different kinds. So, and we're about to get finally the sunscreen ingredients that they've been using in Europe for the last 7 to 10 years that are non-toxic and work just as well as the chemical ones we have over here. So we're about to be able to have that whole change. I'm really excited about that because it will get more people to wear it. There are a lot of sensationalized stories about sunscreen having chemicals and it's going to kill you and give you cancer. There's not one human documented anywhere that died from their sunscreen. But in a petri dish with cells, that's where they get these reactions. There is a reaction to that chemical because it's able to get through the skin and into the blood. And so the concern there is that could mean you could get cancer from sunscreen. You could. It's possible, but no one has been documented as having them. A lot more people have died from skin cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the point I'm making. So really, it's, I tell people, they go, what sunscreen should I wear? The one you'll wear, whichever one. Like you do the zinc one if you want one, if you don't like the chemicals. But I am excited that we're going to have that available. I think that's going to be a game changer over here because it's proven safe. It's as effective as chemical. The problem with zinc is it's a surface sunscreen that reflects and it wears off really easily. You sweat it off very easily. We have hybrids now where they're taking the least obnoxious chemical sunscreen, about 2% of that, and putting it into a mineral sunscreen so you get the protection from both, which is kind of where we're at now. That's what I use is the combination ones. But with this new change, people will be able to feel good about using a sunscreen that's going to actually protect your skin, longer lasting than just a zinc version, non-nano. It's not going to sink into your skin and get into your bloodstream and protect you from the sun. Why it took us so long, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, but the powers that be are slow.
Yeah.
When it comes to health and wellness, they're slow, very slow. So
Also, does stress play a part in how we
sure it
age?
does. Sure it does. I mean, I learned that first off in my teenage years. And the joke about having acne is it always shows up when you have an important event. Like I had back in the acne days, as I call it, in the 2000s, I dealt with a lot of people getting married, having photo ops at celebrities that had television shows. They were freaking out because they were having a brand. So your freaking out is not helping because it's creating immune responses even more sensitive. So yeah, and that goes back to getting enough rest. Being stressed out all the time is going to lead to problems. People who have eczema, psoriasis, any of those autoimmune response skin conditions know that they can cause their own flare up again stressed out. So acne is no different. So yeah, stress is gonna eat away. It raises glycination. It actually affects how sugar molecules are handled in your body. All that adrenaline and insulin resistance levels being off. Cortisol. We talked a lot about that on the channel. Your cortisol level gets higher. You're not sleeping. It's like a chain reaction. So yes, it does have a big impact.
I've had some episodes in the last 3 or 4 episodes about stress and well-being, and it's amazing what you can do when you curb stress, how you can just not be as stressed out. I hate to use that word, but to have that. But I mentioned something earlier, facial yoga. Is that something that can help ease the stress?
Yeah, anything for me, I mentioned Peloton's getting free ads in this thing, but I mentioned the spinning. For me, the physical workouts help me de-stress. It helps kind of reset all that stuff in your body.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly anything you can do to reduce that is going to be helpful, and certainly stretching. That's a big part of spin. That's spin culture, is that you have the stretching as
Mhm.
well. You don't just hop off the bike and go, hey.
No,
So
yeah.
you got to stretch. But yeah, yoga is very relaxing. It puts you in touch with your body. You learn, like, I don't lift heavy weights anymore, but I work out. And one of the things that you learn is you actually are able to isolate muscles. Your attention can be in a muscle by itself, and you can learn to move that muscle independently. The same thing, yoga puts you in touch with areas so you feel where your stress is being packed. Some
Mhm.
people, it's the neck, chest. Go get a massage if you don't want to do yoga. Well worth the money to go to a professional massage, especially if they're massage slash chiropractor. There are those, that's what I use, where you get both. They can tell where you're having issues, even if you can't, and
Mm.
release that pent up tension and get that blood flowing, because we want to keep inflammation low. And all of the things we're talking about, they raise inflammation in the body, which is where you get the aches and the pains and the fatigue, and you don't feel like doing anything. And then you have to talk yourself off the couch and into the workout room rather than it calling you, because it feels good. So you feel good. So you want to do it.
So you mentioned dark circles earlier. I'm very fascinated by that because I think I have some dark circles, and I know I do. What are some remedies to do that? Because you see things on TV with people putting cucumbers on their eyes, or
Actually
doing,
works.
it does?
Cucumbers.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. Chilled cucumbers, chilled tea bags. Tea bags are very effective because of caffeine. So now we have caffeine serums. So if you don't want to go slice up your cucumber and use them, there are enzymes in the cucumber that help reduce the amount of fluid in the skin. It gets rid of that puffy area, and it helps the enzymes help lighten and brighten even the skin tone. So a lot of things can be involved when you have dark circles. It can be the skin itself is darkened with age because of sunlight right here. And again, you can use topical products like kojic acid, hydroquinone, those type of ingredients to help lighten that and even that back out. A good vitamin C serum will do a lot for that too. Then there's fluid buildup, lymph fluid, where you have the puffiness, which makes it look even worse. Now you've got a shadow on top of it under your lower lid. Try cucumbers help reduce all of that. So do chill tea bags or a caffeine serum. And there are under eye patches now, silicone patches you can put out of the refrigerator. You chill it in a liquid, and it really helps with that. Now, if you're a person though that has the under eye hollow that is, and the skin is very thin, it's more a problem for women than men more often than not. Their skin is thinner. And you do all that and it's still there, then that is a you're just genetically predisposed to have thin skin there. And that's the shadow under your eyeball. That's not going to go away from any of the things we're talking about.
Mm.
You're going to have to use a concealer. You could do those things to improve the overall look of your eye, but then a concealer that matches your skin tone just right underneath will make all the difference in the world. And there's nothing wrong with using a concealer if you need to. What else are you going to do? You can't, it's not you. There's no filler. There's no anything you can do. And that's just the truth. So
Is it any tea bag you can use? Any tea bag?
Lipton's tea bags that you would make tea out of, not
It's
decaffeinated. You want the caffeine.
caffeine. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want decaffeinated. It's not going to do anything. Because the caffeine as an enzyme actually takes the capillaries and shrinks the tips back. So what it does is it improves that whole area, tightens the skin, it pulls the capillaries back. Think of them as being stretched out a little bit. All these tiny little capillaries, you might even see them. I'm not talking about spider veins, but those capillaries that are through your skin, caffeine helps reduce those, and it can make skin look much better for hours. It lasts
Okay.
for hours. Yeah.
So
So
chilled
it's,
ice bags. I'm gonna get some Lipton tea. I'm gonna get some chilled ice bags and
yeah, if
just
you've
chill.
ever had a black eye, that's going back to that same type of thing. It's something chilled to like stop the process of the bruise. Caffeine's very effective for that. So
Well, all right, I'm gonna do that. So, also, how does acne happen? How does acne happen? Like, I remember when I was a teenager, I had acne, but how does that happen? And how does it, like, some days you may get like a pimple here, a pimple there, or something, some acne. How does that happen?
That's still a really relevant question, even though I don't have an issue too much with it anymore. I get one every once in a while, especially if I eat a lot of sugar. But there are things that trigger that, and everybody has the same bacteria on their skin that's involved with acne. It's a bacteria that actually breaks down skin oil, and if it didn't, we'd really be oily. So this bacteria on your skin actually is digesting the oil you produce and helping your skin keep its moisture balance, its barrier intact. What happens with some individuals, especially people we know now have a high reaction rate to like sugar, too much sugar in the diet, been on antibiotics for a long time. Think about most acne people. I'm older. I was one of those. They threw on antibiotics right away. So I was, for 7 years, I took antibiotics every morning for acne. So I was messing up my gut health doing that. So a lot of times adding probiotics to your diet will help calm that. What happens is that bacteria gets down in the pore. The pore gets blocked because you're producing a lot of oil. As a teenager, you produce a lot more oil than you do as an adult. And so your immune system responds to that as an infection. So once that happens, now you've got a bump. And then people tend to like push on them, pop them, and now you're pushing more of that bacteria under your skin further out. So that's why we see patchy areas where people have been messing with it. The best thing I ever learned from my dermatologist, and he was really ahead of his time, was to take a hot compress, a washcloth, and really spend the 5 minutes. You can buy a steamer now, but steaming my skin, really getting the pores to be able to get that thickened oil you produce as a teenager out. And just that step really made a huge difference. So if this happens to a lot of ladies when they go into menopause, they have weird oil production happen. Usually right around the jawline, they'll get bumps and it freaks them out. They maybe not had acne ever. Just the washcloth alone, not dabbing on a bunch of harsh acne medications that dry out your skin. Because if you do that, you're going to have what we call you'll have the honeymoon phase, which, not picking on any giant acne products out there. People will know who I'm talking about. People would buy that stuff. Their skin would look great for a week or two. It would get better. And then suddenly they would have these ridiculous breakouts because they had a tiny layer of dead skin now sitting on the surface of the skin doing what? Trapping more oil in the pores. So what you want is a good exfoliator like glycolic acid. You want to use a vitamin C serum to help improve the health of your skin. You want to use the steaming. You want to moisturize your skin so it produces less oil. I was just thought the same thing when I was in my teens. I thought I got to dry this up. Everything dried up. I mean, I took Accutane twice and it came back. So what I learned was drying it up doesn't help, but helping your skin not produce as much oil does. So if you've got a good oil-free moisturizer, your skin doesn't need to pump out the oil as much. So acne is just a immune response to that bacteria being down in a pore, and you get a bump. Same thing that it's the same mechanism, really, truly, in a lot of ways to eczema, psoriasis. The immune system's reacting to that imbalance in the skin and trying to like get rid of it. So there you have it. That's what it is. And cystic acne is just deeper. Where it's acne vulgaris, where it's deeper down in the hair follicle. And that's the one that they really try to get under control so you don't have the deep scarring. So, that's usually the focus of the dermatologist, is to keep you from getting acne scars. So most people do outgrow it because you produce less oil as you get older. But not everybody. I didn't. So I had to change my diet. I had to get on probiotics, all this stuff nobody even knew anything about in the mid 80s. I was doing that. So, and it went away. It never came back. So,
Wow. So you mentioned if we shower, should we use some sort of like sponge or anything like that to help with the skin?
I use a Japanese shower towel. There's several of these out there. It's a cloth that's about 45 inches long. It's about 3.5, almost 4 feet long, about this wide, and it has a texture to it that helps exfoliate the dead skin cells off your skin gently as you're taking your shower. Plus, you can get your back with it, which is really nice. I'm not a fan of heavy loofahs or anything like that people can overuse them. Scrubs can go too far. And that particular shower towel, you use it, what I'm trying to say, it's antibacterial material, so it doesn't get moldy or gross. You rinse it out, you let it dry. I replace mine once a month. Every time someone visits or I go somewhere and they ask me what that is, I send them one and they're like, I don't know how I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
How
I'm
did I
gonna
not
look.
know these existed?
I'm gonna look
Uh,
that up after this.
yeah, the brand I use is Goshi, but there are several of them out there. It's the same technology and they're amazing and they travel well. I
Antibacterial. That's the key too, like you said. Antibacterial.
you don't want to use anything, and loofahs tend to mold up. That plastic just sits there and holds that water, and you get mold, and you've got bacteria from dead skin cells in there. And these shower towels, you use them for a month, toss them, you get a new one. You bring them out, they air dry, they completely dry out. Where loofahs, if you ever lived with anyone and had loofahs or those plastic things, and you hit it, it is still full of water like 8 hours later, cold water. And you're like, that is so gross. Oh, so yeah, very, very nice. And everybody used to have their own.
Hmm.
If you have multiple people in the house, don't share, get your own, you know.
All
So
right.
you have your, yeah, you don't want to share. That's like sharing razors and stuff like that. Toothbrushes, razors. I'm
Yeah.
like, why
No.
would you
No. No.
do
No.
that?
You got to have your own.
You can love somebody without using their toothbrush.
One thing I love to do when I take a shower is like I like putting my face on the shower head and just letting the hot water just like pound it. Is that good to do or
As
no?
long as your skin is not annoyed by that, it's fine.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah, I
Helps
mean,
helps it helps.
it's everybody's different when it comes to how their skin reacts in temperature, different water temperatures. I I have special shower heads that filter that water and make it soft because I'm in a city. It's chlorinated water, not the best water in the world. So I I'm a big believer in shower heads. They're expensive, no lie, but they are the difference that you get in your skin and your hair from having softened water. You don't have to put a whole water softener in your house anymore. Do all that. You can just do the shower head. You just replace the thing in the middle of it. L skin, E skin is the one I use. There's a bunch of them, but yeah, those can really help if you're having acne issues and dry skin issues. A lot of times, and you're just using tap water, changing that and having a shower head that filters and softens that water before it hits you can make a big difference.
Right. Okay, excellent. That's pretty it's pretty interesting. Speaking about hydration is important too. Drinking water. I drink tons of water. Is that very important?
Smart water right here.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, no microplastics in their water, and it's pH balanced. So, but yes, and this is not drinking gallons of water. It's sipping on water throughout the day, keeping yourself hydrated. If you're waking up, yeah, I'm older. I have humidifiers in here. I live in Florida, and you think a humidifier in Florida, but I have them for the pets and for me, especially this time of year, to keep the moisture balanced. Because here in the summer, is air conditioning is like heat up north in the winter. It dries your air out.
hmm.
So if you're sleeping and you're waking up with dry skin and dry mouth and all that stuff, then you probably would look to put a humidifier in your room. About to do a new video on weighted blankets and stuff for sleep because I'm a big proponent of sleep pillows. Anything you can make your sleeping environment better because it's so important, I am all for. So, I have sleeping glow pillows that help hold your head the right way. If you sleep on your side, it's cut out where your face is squished up. A lot of people are shocked that they don't need Botox when they start with a sleeping pillow because now they're not squinching up their face
Hmm.
anymore when they're sleeping. Their faces are all wadded up in the pillow. So, so yeah, hydration, both your environmental hydration in the air and the water you drink, very important.
I
Super important.
I was watching one of your videos about exercise because it caught my eye, and I use a towel, a big Gatorade towel to clean. But when I was watching it, I guess when we sweat, we push the stuff, we just keep it in our faces or on our skin as we do. Is that the way understood it?
For what
Just
thing?
exercising and sweating.
Oh, yeah, if you're sweaty, you definitely want to rinse off. Like it's a real tricky thing because the skin barrier is very sensitive. So you don't need to be in a shower 2, 3 times a day scrubbing your skin off because you will mess up your skin barrier. But if you've been working out and you're sweaty, a light shower with a very moisturizing body wash or something that's just going to freshen you up is more than enough. You don't need to be in there with the shower towel 3 times a day that we just talked about. You don't want to do that. One time a day is enough to exfoliate. But yeah, I mean, you want to clean towels. Anything that sits out is going to get moldy. You don't want to do that. You don't want that on your skin. So if you're using the same bath towel and it's been hanging in there for a month, probably needs to go in the wash.
Talk about
If it smells funky, it probably needs to go in the wash.
if it smells
So,
funky, it probably is funky. And yes, put it in the wash. I agree.
and I know I get it. Towels are expensive, good ones, but it doesn't matter what you pay for them. If it's sitting there wet day after day for 5, 6 hours in your home environment, you probably have mold in your shower towel. Thing.
Excellent, excellent advice out there. Talk about your ascendancy in the YouTube stratosphere because you have over 500,000 subscribers. Talk about that and what's the feedback been like since you started that?
It's funny. I took a break after television and all that for a while. Since I got older, my mom passed away, and I didn't want to live in Pennsylvania much anymore. Still love it. Go visit. I have friends and family there, but I wanted to change something up. So I really took a break from all of it till I got down here. And then when I decided I wanted to start getting back, I didn't really want to be on TV again. I mean, I could have done that because you
Mhm.
can reach out once you've been on there, you can get back on there. So I thought about it. I was like, if I have this YouTube channel and all we've done with it is put clips from the television shows on it. That's what we did. And I said, maybe I should try to see if I'm sticky on YouTube because YouTube's hard. Like it's very competitive. When you start, you don't have any following. It's hard to get your videos seen. So the first video I did was May 18th, 2018. And it was on sunscreen, oddly enough. And they were banning it in like Hawaii and down here in Key West. They were banning certain chemicals in sunscreens from going to the ocean because it was having a problem with marine life. So I did a video on that's terrible. It's a terrible video. I was learning how to edit. I was doing it all myself. The lighting is bad. I'm very stiff in the video because of all the TV I'd done, but it did okay for a YouTube. I mean, I got viewers, not a lot. I think I got 1 or 200, which is unheard of on a first time video. So I just kept working it. I did cooking shows. I did all sorts of stuff in the beginning to see what people were acne. Then the one that took off of all of them that I did was a holistic video on how to remove warts naturally with baking soda and castor oil. Well, unfortunately for me, or I thought at the time, that video took off and got 1 million views. It was great. I'm going to be known as the wart guy on YouTube. Because
Million
that's how
views?
YouTube, yeah,
Wow.
that's how YouTube works, right? It's very niche. So, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to be the wart guy. I was not happy. I was really unhappy with that. But it got me what you needed to be monetized and it bumped me up to some visibility. And then when I started to talk about my age, though, that's when things really took off. During the pandemic, for whatever reason, I did a video on my neck, because the neck is different, neck and chest, different skin care than anywhere else. So I did a video how to skin care for the neck. And I was 50. Well, that was 20. We're 26, 62. So what, 50, 56,
Mhm.
somewhere there. So I mentioned my age in the video. Well, that went nuts. I was a liar. Like it was so bad.
What?
Oh, there's a Reddit about my age. There is an actual Reddit on Chris Gibson's age. More people want to know how old, if I was telling the truth about than if I was married. Because they dig for everything. So when you get that kind of viewership, the people are digging for everything. Yeah. So I mentioned my age and I went, okay, well, that's what people want to talk about. I'll talk about that. So I started to shift my focus to helping people reverse sun damage, to talk about the things we've been talking about, the things that drive people mad with their skin, that they can't seem to get any relief, and they don't want to facelift, and they don't want to do Botox. So that all of that fit. I talk a lot about oils, natural oils, and how they work, because a lot of your skincare ingredients come from natural stuff already. It's not like they come from Mars. So, the chemicals you're getting are made from this stuff. So it was just a really good fit. It went on like a shoe on my foot. So, and the rest is history. We've grown really, really fast. I hit 500,000 last year. I had 300,000 2 years before that. I've never been in a hurry for any of that. I've been happy that I haven't had, while those videos, I have viral videos, some of them 4 or 5 million views. None of them have been like a crazy one that brought a bunch of people in. You don't want that. I really wanted to, like, I have an online community. I'm about to start doing lives. I'm probably going to do a skin school, where people can come and learn some of the things that I know. It's just really grown. I have a skincare line. I have a supplement line now called Replenish Mode, where I'm helping people that I talk about the supplements I take to support my health. So it's really evolved into this whole thing now.
Talk about your skin line and those items there, if you would, please.
Okay, well, the very simple thing is I am a holistic practitioner, licensed esthetician who likes natural approaches that work. The less chemical reactions happening in the skin, the better. So when I did this, I wanted it to be botanically based. But there are skincare chemicals and ingredients that are good. They're not all bad. So I wanted to be able to have ingredients, and we had to find a lab that did that. And then I had to talk about the things that were important to me that I would use myself, of course. So I don't push any of this on the channel. I maybe do one video on that stuff a month. Usually I'm really reviewing a lot of other things or giving out, information on these studies or what's working or what's coming down the pipe, so to speak. But same thing with Replenish Mode. I wanted to be able to offer the same things I take that were high quality and didn't cost a fortune. So, like on the skincare line side, we are very moderately priced on this stuff because it needs to be accessible to do any good. I don't want just people who can afford really expensive products. And we've really tried to keep that balance where things are reasonable. If you pay $30 or $40 for something in Target for a name brand, but you can get a luxury, higher ingredient strengths in my brand for the same price, that's where we modeled that after. Same for the supplements. I'm not going to be doing 1,000 supplements for everything in the world, but I talk about collagen peptides. I have those. Talk about gut health. I have probiotics. I talk about hormone balance, and I have one for that called Vital Surge. I have a vitamin D3 and K2. I have, the things that I actually take. Those are the things that I want to let people have access to, and that I know are not full of fillers and are not stupid expensive. So it's taken a while, but that's really all that's about. It's just a way to further my idea about quality when it comes to health, quality and price. So
That's a great story. You built it up organically in what, 8 years? It's become thriving. That's pretty awesome. That's awesome.
yeah,
So your website is www.chrisgibsonlive.com.
that's the main site. Yes. And then of course, YouTube is my platform. I'm on everything. So I'm on Instagram, Chris Gibson Friends. I'm on Facebook, Chris Gibson Friends. I mean, I'm ever Skin So Fabulous, which is the name of my company. We have one for that. Skin So Fabulous is my own online community. So there's that. So yeah, so I'm everywhere. It's not hard to find me now. You just put my name in and all that stuff pops up.
And do people ask you
So
for advice on all your social medias? You must have a
yeah,
media manager, or do you do that on your own?
I do all this on my own right now.
Wow.
I have one guy, this my old business partner from before when we did the books, who helps me with the skincare side of it because it's a lot. It's grown a lot. The skincare side has. We just had our 6,000th product package go out. So it's a lot. So we did a little bit for years and years, not much. And then suddenly the last couple of years, it's because people like the stuff and they come back. So now I've got people coming back and buying replacements. So it's growing really fast. But we've tried to keep our arms around it. I haven't gone out and hired a bunch of people. I finally just hired a company to help me run the business side of it because I've been doing that myself for years. I mean, that was my background anyway in the corporate world. So, but now it's to a point where I really want to concentrate on the content for helping people and letting the business be run by experts. And we've done that on purpose to keep prices low. And we're still keeping prices low. So it's Yeah, it's interesting to watch all this come together because it's what it takes a life of its own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's its own thing. It's like, okay.
So what would be like maybe one or two things you would tell my listeners about their skincare if they had to do something like, or if there's maybe a third thing
Yeah,
they could do
I
like to improve it?
right. Basics, I tell everybody, basics you need a vitamin C serum. It doesn't have to be stupid expensive. You want one that's going to be gentle on the skin. So look for sodium ascorbyl phosphate rather than L-ascorbic phosphate, which is the stronger caustic one. A vitamin C serum every morning, a good peptide serum. They're you can find these easily. The Incubus has their peptide complex. I have one. Anyway, applying those two things to the skin helps balance your skin and let it do its thing on its own. Obviously, we talked about sunscreen and sun protection, really is what I'm talking about. Protecting your skin from the sun. And then, of course, when it comes to exfoliation, we talked about the exfoliation towel for the body.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. You want a nice gentle exfoliation for the face. You can use glycolic acid as a treatment, as a serum that helps speed up cellular turnover, which is going to make your skin look amazing. You can get that all the way up to a peel level where you do it once or twice a month. Just glycolic acid. People will, you can find all this on my channel too. There are videos. You just type
Okay.
in what we're talking to Chris Gibson, glycolic acid, and you'll have all of it. And then when it comes to tretinoin, retinol, and that, there are two things. I did tretinoin for years. Now I use bakuchiol, which is a natural, as we said, I love natural approaches, is a natural ingredient extract from a plant that delivers similar results as tretinoin and retinols without the irritation, without the dryness. Retinoic acid is extremely helpful for your skin in reducing and reversing sun damage. The problem is it's a chemical reaction has to happen in your skin for it to work. And now a lot of people can't tolerate it. I tolerated it except for on my eyelids. So when I found bakuchi oil as a replacement and it worked really well, and then people tried it and it worked really well for them that had not been able to do it, that's your option. You can do the tretinoin if it works for you. If you find it doesn't work for you, then bakuchi oil is good. And then what I tell everybody, if you're not happy with where you are after you try all these things on your own, go to the dermatologist and get prescription level skincare because they'll be able to help you. So I'm not anti-dermatologist. Honestly, I've learned a lot of my stuff from great dermatologists. That's what inspired me to be on the aesthetic side of all of it. I didn't want to be a dermatologist. Some of that's gross. I'm not Dr. Pimple Popper. I have no intention of removing blackheads from people's face. Not my thing. But when it comes to natural approaches that will work, I say it in almost every video, skincare that will work for you, not empty your wallet and not do more harm than good. That's really the crux of the skincare piece of what I do. Those three things.
That is fascinating. Chris Gibson is an influencer, skincare expert, best-selling author. He sold over 1 million copies of his book, Acne Free in 3 Days. He's also a licensed esthetician, if I could say the word. He has 535,000 subscribers on YouTube. And he can also be found his website, www.chrisgibsonlive.com. And Chris Gibson, I want to thank you very much for coming on my podcast. I'm going to go buy a couple of Japanese towels after we get off here because I'm serious. And
Goshi.
I'm really honored that you came on. You've been on some major networks, and I'm honored you came on my podcast.
No problem at all. I enjoyed it.